Bonjour, it's Bonkipi and welcome to this new tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how to create this liquid drip animation revealing your lettering on Procreate. This is the kind of effect that works really well with your lettering artwork using a monoline brush. And this is, by the way, the only style of brush we are going to use to create this animation. So let's get started. I'm going to use a new canvas that is 1350 by 1080 at 300 dpi because it's the size of an Instagram portrait post. But of course you can use the size you want, just be sure to have maximum of layers available because with this animation we are going to use a lot of layers. Firstly, I choose the color of my background. I tap on Layers panel, then on Background Color layer. I want to use a blue palette for my lettering animation, so I'm going to use a light orange color for my background because it's its complementary color and I want to add a little more intensity to my artwork. Here's the hexadecimal code if you want to use it too. To use it, you just have to put this code right next to hexadecimal. Here's the color palette for my lettering artwork. I need 3 colors. The first one is the color of the final lettering art piece, in other words, how the lettering looks like at the end of the animation. As I said earlier, I want a blue palette for my lettering, so I'm going to use this navy blue. The second one is the color of the drip. For this one, I pick this light sky blue color. And the last color is the color that will follow the drip. For this one, I want to use a vibrant color, so I pick this flashy green blue. Now I'm ready to draw my lettering. I use the navy blue color with the monoline brush. I create a modified monoline brush because I find the size of the original monoline not enough bigger. If you want to grab my brush, you can download directly in the description of this tutorial. But you can also use the original monoline brush, it's totally fine. When my lettering is done, I tap on the transform tool and place it at the center of my screen. Now I have to save the shape of my lettering. To do this, I tap on the Layers panel, then on my lettering layer and select. You can see that the selection tool at the top left-hand corner of my screen is on. I tap on Save and Load at the bottom of my screen and on the little plus button that just appeared. The section of my shape is now saved. I'm going to tap on Layers panel and tap on my lettering layer with 2 fingers. I slide to the left to adjust the opacity to 30%. I'm going to use this layer as a guide now. The last step before creating the animation, and listen to me carefully because it's the tricky part, this step consists of creating the path of my drip, how my drip is going to follow the shape of my letter. I create a new layer and call it Path. I grab monoline brush with a smaller size and with a random different color. So now I have to remember the speed of how I draw my lettering. For example, I know that I go fast in those areas. And slow when I change the direction of my curve. Yep. This means, for example, for the beginning of my path, it goes slow, fast, and slow. Maybe you're wondering why we need this information, because it allows us to recreate the flow of how we create our lettering, just like handwriting. So, for each breakpoint, I'm going to add a little line, which creates several segments on my path line. For this segment, I know it goes slow to fast. I'm going to add a little line in the middle of my segment, then add a little line in the middle of the new segment on the left. and I repeat this operation 3 to 4 times. Now for this segment, which go fast to slow, it's the same thing but in the opposite direction. I divide my segment in half, then I cut the new segment on the right in half 3 to 4 times also. Well, I have to do this for all of my path line right now. Voila! The path on my drip is now ready. I just have to tap on my path layer with 2 fingers and slide to the left to adjust the opacity to 50%. I am now ready to animate the path of my drip. To do this, I tap on Actions panel, then enable Animation Assist. You can see at the bottom of my screen the animation panel just appears. I tap on the first frame on this panel, which corresponds to the lettering layer, and enable Background. And I do the same thing with the second frame, which corresponds to the path line, and enable Foreground. I add a new frame and then tap on the Selection tool, 7 Load, and on the shape of my lettering. Now I click on the brush button and you can see gray and white stripes appears around my lettering. This means that I can draw only inside the shape of my lettering. I make sure that I grab my monoline brush and I fill my shape from the beginning of my path to the first little line. Then I tap on my frame and duplicate it, and I continue to follow the same process. I fill the shape until the next little line. Voila! Now we can see how the first part of this animation looks like. Pretty good. I can hide the path layer, and now I'm going to create the liquid drip animation. Firstly, I have to tap on Alpha Lock for every layer of the animation. Now, for every layer, I can use my brush only where the navy blue color is. For the first 2 frames, I'm going to fill them with my light sky blue color. For the third frame, I fill it with my flash blue-green color, then use light sky blue color above to create the round shape of my drip. And now for the next frames, I always begin with my flashy color, and a little shortcut here, you just have to hold on the color button to pick your previous color. I create the round shape at the end of my path, create 3 little lines behind, and create these rounded shapes around them just like if they mated. And I can create little blobs also to add more details. And finally, I use my light sky blue color. I fill loosely where my flashy color is without exceeding. And now I'm going to repeat this process for each frame. Oh, and to know the length of my 3 lines, I just have to look at my previous frame and begin them where the last strip ended. I'm going to do this for each frame now. For the last frames, I have to make the liquid drip disappear. First, I duplicate my last frame 4 to 5 times, and I also show my path guide layer. To make the liquid drip disappear, I'm going to continue to follow the little line as earlier. And when my round shape touches the end of my lettering, I follow these lines from the back of my round shape. And to finish, I add last blobs. And voila, it's done. You can increase or decrease the speed of the animation if you want. I like it to 15 frames per second. And hold duration, the last frame, like that you can see much longer the final lettering. I can show you how this animation looks like with a full word right here. And I advise you to begin with one letter because this animation takes time to create. Well, if you find this tutorial helpful, the best thing you can do to support me is to click on the like button and to subscribe to my channel to learn more about lettering on the iPad. So until the next tutorial, bonsoir!